Between 800 and 1000 AD, the classic Maya civilization reached a staggering scale. Deep in Central America, urban centers like Tikal swelled to hold up to 100,000 residents. They dominated the landscape, building massive limestone pyramids and vast plazas that required incredible engineering and organization to construct. Yet, at the very height of this success, these massive cities were completely abandoned to the encroaching wild. For decades, popular culture has treated this as a paranormal event. The story goes that the Maya simply vanished overnight without a trace. The archaeological record tells a different story. The fall of these great city-states was a slow-moving, man-made apocalypse. The first crack in the foundation was massive overpopulation. The environment simply couldn't support the sheer number of mouths to feed. The Maya relied on slash-and-burn farming, a method that requires large tracts of land to rest and recover for years. But driven by demand, they overworked the fields, leading to massive soil depletion. At the same time, their architectural ambition was bleeding the landscape dry. To coat their monuments in brilliant white lime plaster, they burned vast amounts of wood to heat the kilns. It took 20 tons of green wood to produce exactly 1 ton of plaster. And then a severe climate shift hit. Starting around 800 AD, the region suffered a series of century-long megadroughts. This was devastating because the Maya lived in a seasonal desert. They relied entirely on heavy summer rains to fill artificial catchments and deep natural sinkholes called cenotes to survive the dry months. In a healthy local climate, trees release moisture into the air through a process called transpiration. That rising moisture directly feeds the formation of rain clouds. This chart shows the catastrophic result of breaking that cycle. The Maya had systematically stripped their environment of forests to build their cities and farms. Without the trees, transpiration stopped. Rain clouds failed to form, and local rainfall dropped significantly. The Maya engineered their own catastrophe. By stripping the forests to fuel their expansion, they effectively switched off the region's rain cycle. In Maya society, political leaders, known as the Kuhul Aja, were also divine shamans. Their primary job was to communicate with the gods and ensure the rains arrived on schedule. Year after year, the sky stayed clear. The reservoirs dried out and crops withered. The population slowly realized their divine kings were completely powerless to stop the starvation. The social contract shattered. Historically, Maya warfare was highly ritualized, fought mostly to capture rival elites for sacrifice. Now it devolved into a chaotic, desperate struggle over whatever fertile land and water remained. City-states began employing scorched earth targets. They actively burned each other's crops and smashed water reservoirs, deliberately destroying the exact resources they needed to survive, entirely draining their economies in the process. Overpopulation caused environmental damage. That damage amplified the drought, which caused widespread starvation, which triggered devastating wars. This is a textbook systems collapse. Exhausted by conflict and starvation, the massive southern lowland cities were finally abandoned. The plazas fell silent, and the jungle quickly reclaimed the stone. But the people did not die out. What collapsed was the classic Maya political structure, the rule of the divine kings and the construction of massive stone monuments. The survivors simply packed up and moved. Millions migrated northward up the Yucatan Peninsula or into the highlands, seeking out areas with more reliable water sources. In fact, northern cities like Chichen Itza actively thrived and expanded long after the southern capitals were abandoned to the wild. Today, there are over 6 million Maya living across Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, El Salvador, and Honduras. They continue to speak Mayan languages, practice traditional agriculture, and preserve a vibrant cultural heritage. The archaeological record replaces the myth of a vanishing act with a story of ecological limits, political fragility, and the ultimate resilience of a culture that persists to this day.